it's okay if you're not loving this phase of life that you're in. It's okay that this season and this moment is not your best time. But what I am encouraging you to do is take some solid action steps to dissecting that and figuring out what it is specifically about this season that is not bringing you joy. Hey, sweet mama. Welcome back to another episode of Mom in Process. As always, I'm your host and creator, Amy Cawthron. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend it with me, little old me, and this community, but mostly me when we're listening to the podcast. I know how valuable your time is and how busy you are. And I just hope that this finds you maybe doing something that you love to do right now, or maybe just trying to figure out a way to make a mundane task like washing the dishes or cleaning up and tidying the house a little bit more enjoyable with me in your ear and your heart space. So thank you for that. But that being said, I do want to talk a little bit about sort of this season or this phase of life that we're in, and these seasons and phases of life that we continue to go in. And something that I don't think a lot of people talk about is this idea that it's okay to not absolutely love a season of life that you're in, because we've all been there. Okay. And sometimes you hear these moms that say, oh my gosh, I just love the newborn phase. I love snuggling that brand new baby. And you hear moms that say, looking back, that was one of my least favorite times. I couldn't wait till they got back into, or couldn't wait till they got into like the 3, 4, 5-year-old stage, and all of that is okay. Okay. I want this episode to be just a gentle reminder that it's okay if you don't absolutely love a specific season of life that you're in. What I want to encourage you to do, though, because it's not enough, for me to just talk about it and validate some of those feelings, but I want you to actually take some steps forward into releasing that guilt from that feeling, but also kind of unpacking that and analyzing it and figuring out, well, where is this feeling coming from? Why do I have this feeling that I'm having right now? And I want you to, I really encourage you to journal some of this. I encourage you to write some of this down. If you're somebody who prays, I encourage you to pray about this. But I really want you to unpack this and figure out, why am I feeling this way? What is it about this season of life that I am not enjoying? What is it about this phase of life that I'm not enjoying? So let's go back to the newborn phase and unpack that a little bit. Now, as a mom of three daughters, three kids, I will tell you that each newborn stage for me, every single one of those stages was completely different. And I can tell you that Gracie's was scary. My oldest, when she was born, it was scary. I didn't know what to expect. I was relatively young at the time. For me, I think my maturity level was young, even though I probably didn't think so. And she's only 8 right now, but it's a new baby phase. And then Olivia, I think I was struggling with even recovering from when we had Gracie, because they were born under 2 years apart. I got pregnant really fast with Olivia, and I don't think I was entirely ready. And so there was even some resentment. As much as I was excited and happy, there was still, it was so hard. It was so difficult. So I went from Gracie's newborn stage of fear and not knowing what I'm doing and feeling like I'm just screwing everything up, to like almost resentful and grumpy. And I've talked about it in the podcast of being what I would probably have diagnosed as, postpartum depression with Olivia. And just everything hurt. My body wasn't healing. Like I wasn't, getting my energy back. And then went from that, and I had waited a little bit longer with Lily to have our third. And I had an absolutely beautiful postpartum experience. And I loved the newborn stage with her. And she was such a great baby. And, we co-slept with her in the bassinet, which was different than the other two. And so I want you to know that each of those seasons were different, and each of the seasons that you're going to go through, and these phases that you're going to go through in life, are all going to be different for every kid, every moment. There's so many factors and variables that go into what makes up our days and what makes up our lives. And, as stay-at-home moms, we are so susceptible to feeling each of those bumps and hurdles and things that we need to go through just within our families, because that's what we surround ourselves with all the time, every single day, 24 hours a day. And I want you to know that that season that you're frustrated in, it's genuinely okay. Nobody's expecting you to be completely happy all the time. But what I want you to do is start taking some reflective work, some time, and asking yourself, but am I still feeling fulfilled? And if you're not feeling fulfilled, then let's unpack that a little bit further and figure out, what is it within this season? Why am I feeling this way? And there's so many different rabbit holes we can go down, and there's so many different steps we can take to go unpack this and analyze it and figure out, I don't want to say where the problem is necessarily, because maybe there isn't a problem, but maybe there's a bottleneck that, that's not allowing that positive energy to flow through you. And that's absolutely okay. So I encourage you to grab a pen and paper. I want you to do a brain dump. And is it something to do with could it be something to do with your nutrition? Is it something that you're putting in your body that's continuously making you feel like garbage? I always go back to this. How much are you drinking? What are you eating? How much water are you drinking? These are some really simple things that we can analyze. And then the other thing is, how much sleep are you getting? Especially if you're in the newborn phase. With Olivia, I wasn't sleeping at all. She was a terrible sleeper. Our middle daughter was a terrible sleeper. And then we came to Lily, our third, and she was a much better sleeper. We still had to do some sleep training and we had to work with her on that, and that was fine. But all in all, she was just a genuinely more happy, easy to please baby. And so that made my life significantly easier. So if that is a reason, if there's something within that newborn phase or, the toddler phase, because honestly, the toddler phase for me right now is what I'm in. And I would take the newborn phase with Lily over this toddler phase that I'm in any day of the week. And all of these days, there's good days and there's bad days and there's ups and there's downs and there's extended periods of weeks that seem like they're good. And then there's weeks that seem like they're just so challenging and such a struggle to just find that fulfillment and find that peace and that joy. And so, if you're sleeping okay, maybe it's something to do with like the busy toddler running around, or maybe you haven't been out with girlfriends for a while and you need a little bit more of that social aspect in your life. Maybe you're spending too much time on social media, and we really have to get very, very, very strict on releasing ourselves from some of that and cutting back on some of that. There's so many different action steps that we can take to unpack and discover, what is it about this season that I am not feeling fulfilled? What is it about this season that's making me feel resentful? What is it about this season that's questioning my worth as a stay-at-home mom? What is it about this season that is making me bite my kids' head off and not want to be around my husband, and it comes back to, a lot of times for me, this is just another example, is sometimes I feel like I'm taking on the burden of my entire household. How much could you redelegate or delegate, if you've never done it, to the members of your household? How can you work as a team in a more efficient and effective way by handing off some of these responsibilities? I had Nicole Siegmiller on a few episodes back, and she talked about life with a large family. Life as a homeschooling stay-at-home mom with a large family. And she had a great piece of advice that I will forever hold on to and probably use multiple times in this podcast. And it was something that her husband said. It's an idea that her husband has. And he says, if you're not thinking about the responsibility, I'll insert the responsibility that he has. If you're not thinking about it, then I'm doing my job. If you don't have to think about it, or you don't even really know that it's happening, then I'm doing my job perfectly. And we used like certain examples of taking out the trash, paying certain bills. Hey friend, I just wanted to pause this episode for a brief moment and let you in on an incredible opportunity for you to win some Mom in Process merchandise. We put together a bundle of some of our favorite products that we're selling right now, and I want to give that away. I want to do a drawing. So all I need from you in order to win the vintage ball cap, one of the incredibly soft t-shirts, as well as a water bottle sticker, is to head on over to iTunes, leave Mom in Process podcast a rating and review, take a screenshot of that review and send it to Cassie at mominprocess.com. This step is very important so we can be sure to add your name to the drawing. That's Cassie, Cassie at mominprocess.com. We're going to run this for 2 weeks. So you have 2 weeks to get your name in there, to get your name in on the opportunity to win this bundle. This ends on April 10th at midnight. We will announce the winner via email as well as Instagram on Monday, April 11th. So head on over to iTunes, leave that rating and review, take a screenshot of it, send it to Cassie. Good luck. I'm looking forward to this big giveaway. Thank you so much for listening. Let's get back to the show. Just responsibilities around the house. Like, are there certain things that your family can do, especially if your kids are a little bit older? Are there certain things that your partner, your spouse could do if they have the time and availability, and really they can sometimes make the time to kind of take that off of you? Have you communicated? This is another question. Have you communicated some of your frustrations, your resentment, your just levels of unfulfillment to your partner, and just saying, last month I was doing really great, and I don't know what it is about this month, but something's a little bit off and I'm really struggling. Maybe you need to talk that through with him. Maybe you need to, like I said, write that down in a journal. Never forget that you always have resources outside of this podcast and outside of this community that are professional resources, professional help. If you are really struggling within a season of your life, I really encourage you to talk to your healthcare professional and see, what additional steps you can take. Maybe it's doing some blood work and checking some of your hormone levels. Maybe it is talking to a therapist, depending on what things are going on outside of your household or even within your household that are really bothering you. There are a lot of steps that you can take. And I know that those are very difficult to take sometimes when you are a stay-at-home mom, because you can't take your children with you to therapy. So I'm absolutely not naive to that. I know how difficult it is sometimes for me to just get to the doctor to get an annual checkup. So, but it's important. It's very important to me. It's important to my husband. It's important to my children that I'm good. It's important to your family that you're good and that you're fulfilled. I'm not asking you to be happy every single day, because happiness is fleeting. It comes and it goes, but there is a level of fulfillment that we can still have. So what I'm telling you, and I just want you to understand, is it's okay if you're not loving this phase of life that you're in. It's okay that this season and this moment is not your best time. But what I am encouraging you to do is take some solid action steps to dissecting that and figuring out what it is specifically about this season that is not bringing you joy. Is it your role as a stay-at-home mom? Is it just, I don't love being a full-time mom? Okay, now let's unpack that specific topic a little bit further. And I want you to get really deep and say, is it because I feel more valuable working outside of the home? Is it because I don't feel valuable managing my household because all I'm doing all day is cooking and cleaning and taking care of little kids and wiping dirty bottoms? And, if that is not enough for you, then you need to really focus on that and figure out what you can do. And one of the things that we talk about in this community and we go back to is that you're not getting enough time for yourself to do the things that you're interested in. You're not getting enough time to yourself to fill your social bucket. You're not getting enough time for yourself to pursue something that you're passionate about and getting into this flow, into this zone of joy where you're creating or building or just getting lost in a project. Okay. Those are the moments that really help get us through. And whether that's reading, whether that is taking a very intentional, luxurious bubble bath, whether that's moments of just stepping away and going for a drive by yourself or going for a walk. I really encourage walks. Obviously, you guys have heard me talk about that so many times, but there are action steps that you can take. But this idea that we are fulfilled or happy all the time is just not a reality. And what we talk about here, and the point of this community, is that, we are moms in process. And so there's always these ebbs and flows. There's going to moments where we are freaking ruling the world and we feel like we have all our shit together. And then you turn around 24 hours later and it just feels like your life is falling apart. And that's okay. It is okay to have a good day on a Monday and a shitty day on a Tuesday. It is okay to have January be awesome and you have your stuff together, and then August rolls around and you have just completely lost control of everything in your household and your children and your life. And I mean, I want you to know that these are all moments that we've all gone through, or are all going to go through, or are going through right now. So you're not alone in that. And this idea that we should love every single phase or every single moment and every single aspect of being a full-time mom is garbage. It's bullshit, because it's not realistic. You aren't going to love certain things that I love, and I'm not going to love certain things that you love. Certain phases, like we'll go back to that, certain phases of our kids' lives are going to bring us so much fulfillment and joy that you're just going to want to have another baby. And then you're going to have another phase of your life where you're like, why did we do this? And you're going to question every decision that you've ever made as far as becoming a parent, because they're so challenging. And then you're going to turn around and flip flop again and say, I just love this. Let's have 7 more babies. And, it's just this roller coaster that you go on, and that's okay. The highs are what we see in the highlight reels. That's what we see on Facebook, and that's what we see on Instagram. We see the highs. We see the love. We see the joy. We see the fulfillment. We don't see the lows. You know why? Because if you're in the lows, you don't have time to post on social media. Okay? Because you're trying to figure your stuff out, and that's okay. But I want you to know it's okay if you don't love a specific season of life that you're in, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't continue to try. That doesn't mean you shouldn't unpack and really dive into the reasons why you are feeling the way you're feeling within that season. So I just thought it was really important to make sure that you guys understand, as I talk in the podcast, as I post things on social media, that there are phases of my life in the past, in the present, last week, probably tomorrow, that I'm like, this is tough. I don't know if I love doing certain things, certain phases. And then I turn around and ask myself, but what is it about this phase? Is it because I have a super busy 2.5-year-old running around who's screaming at me half the time, and I can't figure out what to do about it? Is that it? Well, okay. Well, that's something that we can work on. Is it something where I'm like, I cannot spend another day barefoot in my kitchen? Well, that tells me that I need to get my hands in the soil and start planting some seeds. I need to say no to all of the other things, possibly even homeschool that day, and dive into something that fills me up, that really gets me going. Maybe I need to go on a walk in the rain. Yes, a walk in the rain, a walk in the weather that isn't perfectly sunny and flowers blooming, a walk that makes you feel alive, that challenges you and makes you and just sparks this energy within you. So I want you to understand, and I want you to know that I'm in your ear telling you that nobody has 100% perfect days, and nobody loves 100% of being a full-time mom every single day. There are aspects of that for all of us that we could really kick the bucket on and just say, to heck with that. I don't want to do that ever again. But genuinely, it comes in ebbs and flows. And if you're in a phase where you've really struggled for a while, I really encourage you to unpack that personally and then figure out, do you need some professional help with that? Do you need to talk to a therapist? Do you need to talk to a friend? Do you need to ask for help in a variety of ways? And if you're not sure, reach out and message me. If you're like, this is what's been going on, I'm not sure, reach out and message me, and I can at least listen. I can at least listen to you. We can have a conversation about it. And then from there, maybe we decide, okay, I'm going to give you the encouragement to go talk to your healthcare professional. I'm going to give you the encouragement to write some of this down and take some action steps. Some of this stuff we can do at home, and some of this stuff we need to ask for additional help on. So just know that I am here supporting you and cheering you on the good days and the bad days, the awesome days and the challenging days, the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, all of them. I am here for you because that is what being a full-time mom is. That is what being a stay-at-home mom is. We're here for all of it, and we're setting ourselves up with these tools for us to unpack these lows and unpack the reasons why we're feeling the way we're feeling. Grab a tool that we've given you, grab a conversation that I've provided for you, and hold on to that, and then take action steps to getting us back up to a state of sort of like normalcy where I'm okay, I can handle this, because it's going to come up and down. It's going to ebb and flow, and we're going to be here for all of it, because remember, we're all moms in process. I am a mom in process. You are a mom in process. And just when we think we have it all figured out, something's going to snap and something's going to shift and something's going to change, and we need to be ready for it. So thank you so much for listening today, sweet mama. I hope this finds you on a good day. And if it doesn't, please get outside, go for a walk, do some journaling, get some fresh air, and just know that I'm in your back corner, just rooting for you and cheering for you, because you're doing amazing, incredible, incredible work. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to talking to you all again very soon.